Hello, welcome to Viscount Leisure. My name's Charles. I'm going to take you on a quick tutorial video around this Majestic we've got here. We're going to go around the outside, make sure we know how everything connects to it and how we get everything started inside, how we drain everything down and how the heating works and how we basically go camping in our motorhome. So let's start quite simply at the back of the van here. All right, first things first, when we get to a site, what we're going to want to be doing is making sure that our van is level. Okay, so what you can have is some leveling wedges for this. So depending on whether you need to raise the front, the back or the side of the motorhome, we drive it up onto some leveling wedges just to get us to a nice level sitting ground. We can use a spirit level inside the van for that, just to make sure we're level. Everything likes to be level inside, including the fridge, but also for your own comfort of course as well. So first things first, get to site, level your van, and then we'll make sure that we are ready to start doing everything else. Once we're in there, then what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to turn on our gas. Okay, so this is our gas supply in here, LPG locker. All right, it's designed to take 2 6-kilo bottles. When we're traveling, we must make sure they are all strapped in, okay, and also switched off as well, so we must make sure they're turned off. So when we get to site, we want to turn it on, so we do that by opening the top of the bottle all the way open. That will allow the gas flow to come through our pigtail here into our bulkhead regulator. All right, and then that will work to the working gas pressure of the van and send it through to all of our utilities inside. We have our gas hose going into the side of the bottle here. This is on a hand tight wheel, so when we're taking this on and off, don't need a spanner for it. Okay, it does go in on an opposite thread, so it's not lefty loosey, it's the other way round. Okay, so just bear that in mind when we're putting our bottles on. But first things first, make sure that we turn our bottle on, that way we've got gas flowing around the van. We want to fill up our water tanks as well. So the way we do that on this van is we come over here and you see we have a socket here which we lift up, and we can drop a hose in there and we can fill our water tank up until it's overflowing. That way we know it's full. We do have a gauge inside that tells us as well whether it is full or not. We also have an external water pipe as well here, so that's just a hose lock fitting there, so we can fit an external shower or something on those sort of lines on the outside. There is a fitting for that underneath the bed, but that's an external water point for you there. We've got access around the back here into the back of the van as well, so you can see, in fact, there's your external shower point there, so that will fit into the nozzle there as well. Reversing camera sitting on the back there. Okay, so you'll see the screen in the front. We've also got the mountings for a bike rack should you wish to put one on the van. Okay, we've got a tap down here. This is the drain for our fresh water tank. We've got that closed at the moment. We've got it full up because we've got everything running, but we'll have a look at that a little bit later on as to how we drain down our van at the end of the stay. External gas barbecue point here as well. Okay, so that is a bayonet fitting. So basically what this means is we can have a gas barbecue outside the van without having to drag a gas bottle out every time we want to use the barbecue. So we have the gas hose coming off the barbecue. That will have a bayonet, a brass fitting on the end which clips into here. Okay, we then turn the tap on and that will allow the flow through. Then to release, we lift the collar. That will pop the other brass bit out. The brass bit will be in your book pack, which you'll find on your front seat. Okay, so that is how we operate that. Okay, we'll have a quick look around the other side of the van because there's a couple of bits we need to talk about. Of course, we do have a roll-out canopy as well. All right, for a sun canopy here. The winder for that is situated just inside the door here. There we go. You see, you've got a little T-piece on the end there. That will fit into the T-fitting at the top here. Okay, and then we can wind out our canopy. There are then legs that we can pop out to steady it when it is on the ground, and you can peg that down to the ground as well. Just bear in mind that they're not particularly fond of the wind, so if you do have a windy day, I would recommend winding it in. Okay, I wouldn't personally as well at night time, I'd roll it in as well, but if the wind catches it, takes it over the top of the van, rips it off the side, you're going to be in somewhat a bit of trouble. So just be aware that the wind can catch that. It's like a big sail. All right, so just be mindful of that when you've got your canopy out. Coming around the other side here, we have access into where our power comes in. So we've got our Leisure battery sitting here that runs all the 12-volt systems in the van, and then we have a lead here which goes in and will run the 2 40-volt sides of the van as well. You will need one of these mains leads to operate your van properly if you're on a mains hookup site, but you can run the van on the 12-volt power with the gas as well. All right, so that's where our power goes into. We also have a toilet cassette here as well. We have an onboard chemical toilet on board, the cassette toilet. This is a Thetford cassette. All right, so the way we operate that is we lift the handle up once we've emptied our cassette, pull it out. Okay, we have an extendable handle, so we can lift that up like so. Okay, and wheel it to our service point so we don't have to carry it. There will be dedicated service points, chemical disposal points for emptying your toilet. Okay, once you're there, what we do is we lift that open to a right angle, take the cap off the end. We then got an orange button here which we press, that will release the air pressure inside the unit, and then we can empty the unit. Okay, there's normally a hose pipe there as well. I would suggest putting a bit more water in there, giving it a shake around, make sure we're getting everything out, and also making sure when we are using the toilet that we're using caravan toilet paper, not domestic toilet paper, because it does break down better. We then need to reprime our unit, so you'll need to get some blue toilet chemical which you put in here with a bit of water. Okay, that's what breaks everything down inside the unit when we're using it, and makes it easier to pour out, and also keeps all the smells a bit more pleasant as well. That goes in there. When we're finished our holiday, all right, we must make sure we're emptying this. All right, we don't want to leave any water or anything in the van, so empty that. There is a LED light to tell you when you need to empty it when it's full. Okay, but that is that. Fridge vents are here. Okay, so the fridge uses heat to cool, so it pulls the cool air in from the bottom, hot air comes out the top. I can feel that because we've got that on at the moment. Everything's run up in there at the moment. Grey water drain valve is here, so we've got an onboard grey water tank which takes all the stuff from our sink and showers. All right, that comes out here, so when we want to drain our van down, we do it from here. Most sites that you go to will have a service point, so you'll be able to go there, fill the water up, and there'll be a drain, so you'll be able to open that up and drain all of your grey water down at the same time. All right, okay, let's go back through here. Right, let's have a look inside. Okay, so what we've done here is I've just got things ready to have a look around. So if we kind of talk about the way we would do things if we've just got to site. So we've levelled our van, we've filled up our water, we've closed all of our drain valves outside, we've turned our gas on, we're ready to start getting things ready in here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to close all of our taps, because we'll have left those open last time, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on, but we always leave our taps open when we're not using the van. And we will also have left our boiler drain valve open as well, which is this yellow switch just down here. Okay, so that's in the closed position at the minute. You will leave it like so. Okay, but I'm going to close that now. So you'll come in here and close that. What that will do is make sure that when we start pumping water from our water tank through our system, it's not going to drop down onto the floor. So taps are shut, drain valve is shut as well. I'm then going to come to my main panel up here. All right, so this is my main panel. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on from there. All right, what this does is, this is our water pump, so we'll turn the water pump on. So we turn that on, turn on our water pump, turn on our interior lights with this one. This one here is our awning light. This one here tells us the condition of our battery, and this one tells us how full our water tank is. All right, and this one here is our light switch for the main lounge. So we're going to come in here, turn this on, make sure we've got water. All right, make sure we've got back power, and we're going to turn on our water pump. Then we're ready to start pumping water through our van. Now we start with the hot leg, so what we do is come to our tap. Okay, there we go, turn my hot tap on. You can hear the pump kicking in now. What you'll get is a lot of coughing and spluttering. The reason for that is it's got to pull the water from your water tank. It's then got to push all the air out of the boiler all through the pipes until the water then comes to the tap. So it will cough, splutter, make all sorts of noise, and you want to leave it doing that until you get a steady flow of water like this. Once you've done that, you can shut that off. You want to do that in here, in your bathroom, in your shower. Make sure we've got the whole hot leg of the system and all the air out of it. We're then going to do the same to the cold leg, so we're going to turn the tap over to cold, turn the tap on. All right, again, that will be much quicker, so we haven't got a boiler to fill up. All right, but we do that until we've got a steady flow of water like we have there. Then we can shut that tap off, and we have now purged our system. Again, do that in the bathroom as well. And so as soon as we know we've got loads of water coming out, we know we've purged all the air out of our water system, and we're ready to start heating that water up in our boiler, which is sat just underneath the floor there. So talking about that, we come to our whale panel here. Okay, so really simple to use this. Okay, the hot water is the top one here with the water drop. So I'm going to press that. And you can see I've got 2 squiggly lines at the moment. Now that's telling me that I'm running it on mains electric, and that's 2 kilowatts of mains electric power. Okay, so each site will have access to different amounts of power. You'll soon figure this out, but they'll generally tell you what sort of ampage you can draw. So what I can do here is, if we start from the beginning, I can have it on frost alert. All right, so that just means it keeps it above freezing. Okay, I can have it on 1 kilowatt of power. That's mains electric when I'm plugged in with my mains power lead. 2 kilowatts of electric. Okay, so that's obviously the more kilowattage I've got, the quicker it's going to heat water up. Okay, I can then have it on gas only. Okay, so if I wasn't on a mains hookup site, I didn't have access to 240 volt power, I can purely run it on gas, and that will heat my water up on the gas side. I can also run it together with 1 kilowatt of power and gas. I can run it with 2 kilowatts of power and gas as well. Okay, so depending on what I want to do, if it was really cold and I just arrived at the site, I might run it on gas and 2 kilowatts just to heat that water up nice and quickly. Or if I was going to have, you know, a couple of back-to-back showers or something like that, I could potentially put it on that setting as well. I know here I can run 2 kilowatts of power, no problem. It will heat my water up to about 60 degrees, so that's absolutely fine for me here. So that is why I've got it on that setting there. The heating is very similar. Okay, so you can see at the moment I can have it on 1 kilowatt of power, 2 kilowatts, 3 kilowatts, gas, 2 kilowatts of power and gas. All right, so they're my options that I have for my heating. Again, I know 2 kilowatts works absolutely fine here. And then I can change my temperature by using the plus and minus here. All right, so I can go down to frost setting, nighttime setting, okay, or to the heat, and you'll soon work out what level is right for yourself. Okay, in the van, I've got it about there at the moment. It's lovely and warm in here, so that is absolutely fine, but you'll get your own way of doing things. Really simple panel to use, so that's how the old whale panel works there for you. Okay, what we'll have a quick look at now is down here under the bed. So you can see this is our water pump here. All right, you can see where all our heating ducting is here. The water heater, air heater is sat underneath here, the space heater. You can see the pipe coming in there where our water comes in when we fill it up from the back there, and you can also see the back locket there as well. What we've got here though is our PSU, so our power unit. All right, for the van. So this is split into 2 bits, right? So we've got the 12 volt system down here. You can see all the blade fuses. It tells you what they all do down here. Okay, so that is our that is basically if you need to change a fuse, that's where you're going to come and do it. Okay, this is our 240 volt side of stuff. So if we're plugged into mains, we want access to our mains power sockets. We want to run our fridge, we want to run our heater, hot water on 240. This is where we will come to make sure everything's working properly. Again, a bit like at home, you've got trip switches. Okay, but the main one we want to talk about is this one here, which is the main RCD at the end here. Okay, so if you're trying to get power to the van and you're struggling, sometimes it's not a problem with the van, it's actually going to be a problem with how you're of where you're plugged into, because they also have trip switches as well. So the way we test to see if we're getting power is we come here and we press this little blue button here with a T on it. Okay, that is the test button. So if I press that and nothing happens here at all, that tells me I've got no power coming to the unit. So my problem is going to be where I'm plugged into, or my mains lead, or something like that. So that's where you want to go and check. If I press this and it trips out, that tells me I do have power coming to this unit. Okay, so that's just a good way of knowing what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, you'll find it's not your fan, it's actually where you're plugged into. All right, so if you press that and this doesn't trip, that's where you need to be going and checking these things. Okay, right, let's put this all back together again. Let's have a quick look at the front here. So we've got our main seating area here, okay, and as you can see, we've got these chairs that fold up outside of the seat for travelling seats, but it does mean we still have a normal lounge seating area when the seats are away. So just thought I'd just show you that's the seat up, okay. So I'll show you how we put that seat down. They're quite simple once you get your head around it. So we lift the base up, okay, and pull that down and put it back down. These bits here, they slot into this bit here, okay, so when we're putting that back up, it's easier said than done with one hand, but there we go, that goes into there and they drop into place there. All right, so we lift that up, pull it back down, and that drops all the way to the floor. Okay, we've then got a lever here. Okay, so what I will do is you pull this lever up. Okay, and then we pull this whole base forward. All right, so again, easily done when I've only got one hand. So let that go all the way to the floor like that. Okay, and then that is all locked down. I then lift this handle here, and then we lift this one up, and then that folds all the way back down there. Okay, and then that folds that away, still leaves you with a little bit of storage in the bottom there. You have a cover that you put on as well, so we'll just quickly do that. Again, excuse the bad camera work. Okay, there we go, and that's your seat put away. And then what we do is we lift this up. That's on a ratchet, so when we're putting that down, we have these little buttons here, so we press that, but you have to press them both at the same time. Okay, again, one hand's easy, but there we go, and that will fall all the way down. Okay, give us a little jiggle around, and that will go all the way back down. So lift that up, pull this down, and we're back to our seating arrangements. This also of course makes into a bed, so this pulls out. Okay, the other side pulls out and meets it, and there we go. And then we use our cushions and we drop those in to make the bed. Always turning these over, okay, so that we're sleeping on the grey side. That's the side we sleep on. And also I would suggest, if you look at these seats here, they've got a bit of a bolster here, so I would flip these over and flip them that way so that the bolster is against the window side. That way I'm flat all the way across. Okay, but really easy to make, and we'll put that back together again now. Right, 1 and 2. There we go. You've also got this bit that goes down the side. Okay, put that back in a minute, and our armrests as well that sit there. Okay, right, so we've had a look at that. We know how that all works, so that is good. Let's have a quick look through all of our cupboards and make sure we're not missing anything. All right, lots of storage in this van. They open by pushing the handle down in the middle, and in we go there. Individual reading lights underneath here, they're individually switched as well underneath. And then we've got our blinds and our fly screen. So any window that opens will have a fly screen, and any window that is just a window will have a blind, so we can black the cabin out. All right, so the blind is on a ratchet. All right, so we can have that depending on if we've got low sun or something like that. Okay, fly screen comes down like that as well. Okay, windows open 1, 2 and 3, and then we open them and we have these screw fittings here, so we can screw it to the desired openness, if that's the right word. Okay, and that will hold it open. I can then undo those and drop the window back and lock it back into place. Again, the windows do have a breather setting, so I can lock the windows with them being slightly open if I was going out for the day and it was very hot. Don't travel with them like that, or if you're leaving the van for any kind of period of time, I would suggest making sure we're locking the van up properly. All right. Over the top here we have another window that opens, a bit like an old school sunroof, this one. Okay, again, we want to make sure that we are making sure we're closing all these, A, before we travel, and B, if we're leaving the van or if we've got any rain coming. Again, we do have a blind and a fly screen for this one as well. Okay, so we can do whatever we want to do with that. Our camera screen is here for our rear view camera, so it's almost like having a screen, a rear view mirror, but it's a screen, so we can see what's going on behind us. This is all of our cab area. Okay, so stereo and everything is here. All of our air conditioning and everything, and steering wheel controls. I'm not going to teach you how to drive a van, but all of the controls are there. Cruise control down here, volume for our stereo and everything is over here for you as well. We do have a button here, all right, which what that does is lock these doors here. Okay, so if we don't want people to be able to get in, all right, we press that, that'll deadlock these doors, and then we can just use our have a door for getting in and out from. Okay, so I'll just leave that off as well. USB at the front, and also a 12-volt socket here as well, cup holders and whatnot. These seats obviously swivel round. We have a handle here for when we're locked into position, like so. We can then do so that and turn them round. We've got a curtain that will go all the way around here. Okay, on top of that we do have blinds in the front as well, so we'll have a quick look at that. The side ones pinch and pull forward, and they clip into place like that. And this one here, again, pinch, move all the way over. Okay, and then the other one meets in the middle. Okay, and that's got a magnet strip there, and that will meet in the middle and keep you nice there. And then our curtain comes all the way around this track, all right, and keeps us nice and nice bit of privacy in the van there. All right. Okie dokie. Let's turn this round. Okay, so moving on round, we've got our smoke alarm and our carbon monoxide alarm. So we're happy they're working, so that's good. More cupboard space here. There we go. What we also have down here is a 240-volt domestic plug socket. Now that's usable when you're plugged into mains. Obviously if you're off grid and you don't have mains power, then you don't have access to that, so that's there. You also have a 12-volt socket and your aerial for your TV socket there as well. Okay, and over here is a TV bracket that fits to the wall, so we can fit a TV here as well if we want, and run the wire from there. Okay, we also have another curtain, concertina blind, so we can lock this off if we have guests staying and they're staying at the front. We can have a bit of privacy between the back and the front. Okay, we'll go and have a quick look at the bathroom. All right, so this is a bathroom / wet room. All right, here's our toilet here. It does swivel around if you've got short legs. All right, so if we look outside, when we were outside we had our toilet cassette that sat in here. All right, so we use the toilet in the absolutely normal way. Okay, and then when we want to flush the toilet, we press the button. That then brings the water in from the water tank, and then we have a lever underneath here, okay, which we pull to the side. That then opens the gate, everything drops down into our toilet cassette, and then we lock it by pushing this all the way back, making sure we are pushing that all the way back, because that's what creates the seal in here and keeps all the smells and the nasties away. So we do make sure that that is fully closed when we are finished. This little symbol here will illuminate when our toilet cassette is full and it's time to empty it. Don't ignore that, or you'll end up with a nice mess in there as well. Okay, shower curtain comes along here, that protects the toilet when we're using the shower. Okay, that is up here. All right, so we have all, just checking that's all working nicely. There we go, and our tap's working all right in here as well. Perfect. Okay, so obviously removing your carpet in here as well, because it's going to get wet. Table, dining table, freestanding table I should call it, is in here. You can use that in here for eating at, or potentially out in your awning, or wherever you want to use that. Extendable worktop as well for when we're cooking, and the way we drop that back is, again, we have a button here which we press, and that drops that back down. On our door here we have a blind. We also have a fly screen we can pull across when the door is open. Okay, and how we lock our door from the inside is quite simply like that, and then push down to open. All right, so if we don't want people getting in at night, make sure that's in the upwards position. We have light switches here for the kitchen, two 240-volt sockets if we're plugged into mains for our toasters or whatever we want to do. And then we have our cooker. All right, so when we're traveling, we want to make sure that all of our glass pieces are down. All right, okay, they do rattle around in here. You also probably want to make sure you're taking out grill pans and things like that and stowing them away so they don't rattle and shelves when we're driving. You do get a bit of rattling in these things, so it's just about finding what's rattling and soundproofing it, I suppose, but you kind of get tuned to that yourself. But the oven is probably the main one to talk about. All right, but again, make sure they're down, because otherwise they can slip out and break on the floor, so we don't want to do that. 3 gas burners, 1 electric. The electric one is for when we're plugged into mains, so it is 240 volt only. The way we use that is quite simply turn it up from here. You can see it's highlighted which what does what, so that's pretty simple. We'll just check that's working nicely. So if we add a little bit of water to that, as that heats up, that should get rid of that nice and quickly. So in fact, I can feel that getting hot, so we're happy with that. And then of course what we also want to do, in fact you can see that all evaporating from there. Good. So I can turn that off. Igniter for this is just on the end. So the way we hold it down, push, there we go, and then we've got our flame going there as well. Okay. What I would suggest is when you first turn your gas on, if you come in here and turn on a couple of your hobs just for a couple of seconds, again, a bit like we purged the water system, we can purge the gas system as well. The gas will switch on and off as well with this. This is a gas safety system, so if you shut that, we can shut that gas off, but always making sure that we're turning these off when we have finished using anyway. All right. Grill, again, we know which one's that because it's the shaded bit at the top. We use that, press the button, there we go, and that lights our grill. And the oven is exactly the same. This one here. Okay, and then we just select the temperature we want and we carry on cooking. Just bear in mind it's not a domestic oven, all right, so things may take a little bit longer to cook than normal, so I'll just keep that in the back of your mind when we are cooking. Microwave at the top. Not going to teach you to use a microwave. Okay, you can only use it on 240 volt power, it won't work off the battery. But what I will say is you will find your plate here in your book pack, which will be on your front seat over there. Don't travel with it in here. Again, with the amount of times we see these smash on the floor, dented worktops and things like that, take it out when you're traveling, because these doors, say, you don't want the rattling anyway, to be fair with you, so just bear that in mind. We've talked about the tap, so we know we've got a mixer tap here with hot and cold water. This should be nice and hot now. We've had this on overnight, so it should be nice hot water. Yeah, there we go, that's getting to the point. Right, there we go, I can't even touch that, that's how hot that is, so we're happy with that. But of course it is a mixer tap, so we can get it to the temperature that we want. Plenty of drawer and cutlery space, all right, and also storage space underneath here. Gas isolator for the oven is here, as if you need it. You shouldn't do, but that's where you come to if you do need to do it. Again, more storage underneath there. That's the plug for our microwave. Again, because it's 240 volt, it's just on a domestic plug socket. So just bear in mind that's what that is. All right. Fridge. Okay. Domestic three-way fridge. Tall fridge. Can open it from both sides. Okay. Same with our freezer. Okay, we can see that's all frozen in there. You can see all the ice forming on the freezer, so we're happy that's all working nicely. Good. So the way this works is quite simply, the main toggle button here is our on-off button. So you hold that down to turn the fridge on and off. Okay, and then what we need to do is select things that we want. So to select my temperature, if I go up and highlight that, press that, and then I can turn the temperature up and down with the jog wheel. Okay, and then to go down, and then I want to select my what power I'm using. You can see I'm set up for mains power at the moment because I'm plugged in, but I can select. You can see I've got different settings here. I've got plug setting, I've got gas, auto, and I've got a battery. So plug is just 240 volt. The gas is gas, of course. So if I wasn't plugged into mains, I can light the fridge on gas, and that will then just keep my fridge at a temperature purely using the gas, so I can be off grid. I can also go to auto. Auto is quite a good one to leave it on, really, because what it will do is select its preferred power source. So if I, for instance, I know I'm on mains electric at the minute, but if I leave it on auto, if my mains electric trips out for any reason, it will then light the fridge on gas. When I then turn my engine on, it then switch it over to the battery mode, so I can run it on the 12 volt system when I'm driving. Okay, so it will do everything for you basically, which is kind of what we want. So there you go, you can see it says auto at the moment. Okay, but it's showing me a plug socket, so if my electric's tripped out, it will then light it on gas. Again, as I said, we do have the other setting, which is the battery setting. Again, that is purely for when we're driving, all right? So it will maintain the temperature in the fridge. It won't chill it down. So if you want to have stuff in the fridge when you're driving, you'll need to chill your fridge down first and then put it over to the battery setting, or as I say, just leave it on the auto. But I'm going to leave that on auto. There we go. There's a few other settings as well. Okay, you can go into fan speed, light settings and all that kind of stuff. We can turn on the beeps on and off. Okay, and a defrost mode as well. So there is a manual in the box in your book pack. But the main thing is we want to know the temperature of our fridge and what power we're using to make it work. All right. More sockets down here. Domestic and 12 volt, and our TV socket is there. Another TV bracket. Okay, our light switch for here is there, and we have another cupboard down here as well. All right, so and a vanity unit up here as well. 2 USB sockets are down here, so we do have USB charging on board as well. But then we have our lovely island bed here. All right, so it's in day mode at the moment. Means we've got a bit more room to move around. In order to put it into day mode, sleepy mode, we quite simply pull it out. Okay, and then we have a full-size double bed there for you. All right, and then to put it away, we quite simply lift this up and then push the rest of it away. There we go. So now we've got quite a bit of space there just for moving around. Okay, you can see the vents and everything we've got down here for our heating. Okay, our loose fit carpets are all down on the floor, so they'll be under the bed, generally where we put those. Wardrobe on each side, drawers each side as well. Okay, but in here we have our TV aerials. This is a directional TV aerial. Okay, so we can twiddle it around to try and get a best signal. It's in its downwards position at the moment, so we undo the locking nut, he says. There we go. And then that will push up over and above the van to give us a better signal, and then we lock that into place. Okay, then we can turn that around. That will change the plane of the aerial to try and get the best signal possible. Of course, not forgetting when we're finished with it or we're travelling, we put that away so that it's not going to take anything out when we're driving. This is our booster for the aerial. All right, so you've got an on-off switch just at the side there, but it will turn off with your mains power. Sorry, with your main panel, and we have a gain there. Just leave it in the full position, and that way it's always pushing through the best signal that it can. Again, wardrobes and everything the other side as well. Blinds and fly screens on the skylights. This one opens by pulling down and lifting back. It's on a ratchet system. Okay. Our Omni vent here, which can suck air in or blow air out, is turned on and off by this one here. Okay, so we can see by the pictures which way it goes. We've got different speed settings as well. All right, or we can go the other way. Just toggle back down through, and that will then switch the fan round to blowing air into the van. So we can use it as an extractor, or we can use it as a fan, basically. All right, just going to turn that off. We can open the lid on the top, all right, to get more airflow by twisting this one here. Okay, and then of course we have a blind for nighttime there as well. Right, that's pretty much it for setting the van up and where everything is. What we'll do now is kind of the reverse. All right, so we'll switch everything off and turn everything down. Okay, so we finished our holiday, we're about to go home. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn off my main panel here. Okay, that's going to turn off my water pump, turn off everything. The only thing it won't turn off is my fridge, because I may well be wanting to keep the fridge cool when I'm driving. I'm not, so I'm going to hold the button down here. That's now turned off my fridge. Okay, we then want to start draining everything out of the van. So first things first, I'm going to come and shut my boiler drain valve. We know that's under here from where we looked at it earlier. So if I lift this up, just bear with me a second. Okay, so that's our yellow switch in there. I'm not sure if you can see in this light. But I'll turn that 90 degrees. Okay, we'll see that all draining from outside. And then what I'm going to do is come and open all of my taps. Now the reason I'm leaving my taps open, and I'm going to leave them open between hot and cold, is that allows air to travel through the system. Now, if you can imagine, if we had water in the system, we had some freezing weather, water expands as it freezes, we can crack taps, pipes, fittings and all sorts of things. So if you can get into the habit of doing this every time you leave your van, then you're not going to have any problems. Okay, so leave that open. You can hear all the air, which is good. Right, then what we're going to do is we're going to go outside. and we're going to start draining the van down. So we're going to drain our fresh water tank down by turning this one here. There we go, you can see that draining down there. I'm going to turn off my gas bottle. Actually, I'm going to take this one out because it's my test bottle, but you would make sure it's strapped in and turned off when you're traveling. So that's off, screwed all the way down. And then to remove this, again, because it's a hand tight wheel on an opposite thread, don't forget, just check our seal there just to make sure that's all right. I'm happy with that. Come around the other side, we would empty our toilet cassette. Okay, you can see where our boiler's draining down here, so we're steaming water here. I'm then going to drain my grey water tank by turning this one on there. There we go. Now my colleague has told me that he's unplugged the van from down the end there for me, so I can now remove my lead from here. You always want to unplug it so that you're not walking around with a live lead, okay? So you unplug it from your post and then your van when you're leaving, and the other way around when you're setting up, okay? And also, what I'd also suggest is leaving your leads all flaked out like this. If they come on a reel and they're all in a circle, they draw a lot of current and get very, very hot. So flake it out, even if it's underneath the van, so it doesn't look untidy, but don't leave it on a reel, okay? All right, so we shut that. That's that all draining down. We've emptied our toilet cassette, okay. And that's everything draining down, and then we're ready to hit the road. You're just inside the door here. There is a handle, and that is for the bonnet release catch for in here, where you will find your for your oil and for your windscreen wash, and everything is in there as well, okay? So that is your Majestic. Just to give you a run through how everything works. There'll be a instruction manual in there, and of course we're on the end of the phone if you need us as well. But happy camping. Thanks for watching.